All right, you all. All right, people. All right, you guys. Block it. Whoa. All right, cool.
Forrest's corner. Literally, you're in Forrest's corner.
It is, it's my corner. I'm Forrest Chaput, and today we are going to talk about presets and how they can help your photos and also hinder you as a photographer if you use them incorrectly. This is Forrest Corner also. It's my little corner of the world. I like it. I'm not super excited to do this video. You guys, this is something that I have actually delayed doing for quite a long time, but our videographer, one of our videographers, Michaela, told me I had to. So here we go. I want to talk about presets today, and presets are one of those things that I love and I hate at the same time. I love them because they can really make you a faster editor. You can speed up your workflow so much. You can also increase your consistency. You can have that like beautiful Instagram profile where everything's just perfect. It looks consistent like it's from the same photographer. But on the flip side of that, they make you lazy, they make you not edit as good as you could edit, and they really make you not learn Lightroom if done incorrectly. So I want to look at that. I want to look at why we might use presets, why we might not use presets. Don't use them. I'm just kidding. You should use them, but use them in the way that you actually understand what's happening, what's going on, and why they can help you out. So we're going to dive in. This is actually going to be a multi-part video. This is going to be part one. I'm going to show you how to make your own presets in Lightroom, what they do, how they're helpful. Part two, we're going to look at how to use other people's presets. And then part three, we're actually going to look at how to take presets in Lightroom and export them out for use with video, which will be pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and dive in, take a look. We'll edit some photos and look at how presets can help us. One thing I want to show you guys and actually demonstrate is through this video what a preset can do. So really quickly and easily, we can go like that, or this, or this, or this, or this. And what that's going to do is that's going to totally change the look of the photo. We can see we did preset in video editing, and we can change what someone sees. We can change the mood and the feeling. And that's what we can also do in the photo world. So that's what presets do. They're going to give you a quick way to just hit one button and change everything about that specific image. So here I've got a variety of images, and I tried to pick things that are kind of varied in their light, in their exposure, different things like that. I do want to say a couple things though before we actually start building presets. And that is that in order for a preset to look good on a photo, the image itself needs to start off pretty well photographed. Like, you don't want to take something that's super dark, super underexposed into Lightroom and try to apply a preset to it, because it's just not going to work. So if you do want to do that, make sure you do that like global brightening kind of thing first. Also, this is really only going to work well on raw photos. You probably don't want to try it on a JPEG. It's going to do weird stuff. So make sure you're sticking to raw images only. The next thing we want to do is just take a photo. So I'm going to grab this image of Sarah here, and I'm going to go D for develop, bring in the develop module. And right off the bat, I'm going to think of the most common things that I do in Lightroom, and we're going to build a real simple preset for it. So for me, the most biggest things I usually will do is throw a little bit of a vignette on a photo, darken those corners down a little bit, just to draw the viewer right into the center of the frame where we want them to look. And I'll also do a little bit of highlights and shadows work. Highlights and shadows, if you have shot before, you'll know that digital cameras, usually they give a little bit too much highlight, a little bit too dark of shadows. And so I like to just bring those in a little bit to add a little bit more, kind of remove some contrast in those areas without affecting the black point and the white point. And that's a really simple edit that I do on photo after photo after photo. So I think it's appropriate to build a preset. So first thing you want to do, you take your image into the develop module. I like going down and hitting the reset button to make sure that all of our sliders are zeroed out. Because when you build the preset, any of the adjustments you've made, it's going to remember those. So we want to make sure we don't have anything we did like 5 weeks ago in there to mess anything up. So we got that set. Next thing we want to do is just make the adjustments, do the adjustments. And you want to be a little bit light-handed on this. You don't want to go crazy, because if you go crazy, you're thinking about you're copying those settings and applying them to multiple images. So we want to be kind of in the middle for how strong or how light we make these edits. So I'm going to take my highlight slider down a little bit, and I usually go down to like -50, -75 on most photos. I think for my type of photography, like landscape, outdoor kind of stuff, that really works well. And then shadows up a little bit, just a hair, something like that. And then I'm also going to go down here to the effects panel, and I'm going to take the post-crop vignetting down. Now, you can go way too far and make it like super cheeseball. I always show students this because it's hilarious. Give me a moment to show the beauty that is this terrible effect that you can do in Lightroom. Anyway, you don't want to do that, so we'll reset all that stuff. What we do want to do is just a little bit of amount down to the left. And the idea with vignetting is you don't want to do it enough that someone tells like, oh, you vignetted the photo, nice vignette. That's not the goal. The goal here is to just do a little bit that it helps draw the viewer into the center of the frame, and it helps everyone kind of stay on your subject, which is what we've done here. So that's set. Now, super simple, 3 sliders. Obviously, you need to set your own sliders to things that you commonly do in your editing. This isn't to say that everyone should have a preset that takes highlights down, shadows up, and vignetting. That's just something that I do on a lot of photographs. So once you're to that point and you have what you want, what you're going to do is come over here to the left-hand side at the top of the presets panel and hit the plus sign. And you're going to go to create preset. Now, you can give it a name. So I'm just going to call it like my simple preset. Obviously, give it a better name if you kind of have some way to describe that in a better way. But give it a name, and then you're going to get all of these checkboxes. Now, these checkboxes are telling Lightroom which of your developed settings do you want it to remember as part of that preset. Now, you could hit check all and hit create, and that would mean that wherever all of your sliders are in the develop module right now, it's going to remember those slider positions as part of this preset. The problem is a lot of the sliders in this photo are zeroed out. So if you think about it, if we had check all selected and we hit create, it would remember that yes, vignetting, highlights and shadows were where we put it, but it would also remember that all of the other sliders were zeroed out. So if you applied this preset to a photo that you'd already done some editing to, it would undo all of that. It would zero out everything, and that's not really what we want. So instead, I'm going to go to check none, and we're going to turn on the things that we want. So in this case, I want to turn on highlights, shadows, and post-crop vignetting. I'm going to hit create. And now over here on the left-hand side, under user presets, we have a preset called my simple preset. Just like that. So let's go G for grid. We'll take it back to the grid view, and we'll grab another photo. So let me take this one, for example. We'll go D for develop. And just like that, instead of going over to the sliders and adjusting everything, I can just grab the my simple preset button, and boom, just like that, we can apply that preset. Now, a cool thing to do when you do use a preset is to look at the before after really quickly and easily. So on the keyboard, there's the backslash key. It's right beneath the backspace key on most computers. And you can tap that, and it'll give you a before after. So we can see here's the before, here's the after. Now, this was a preset that we built on a different photo, but we can see just like that, it improves it quite a bit. Gives us a little bit more dynamic range in the image, and it also gives us those dark corners that force us into the center. So that really is all there is to it. You edit the picture, you make sure that it is looking the way that you want, you only mess with the sliders that you want to make part of the preset, and then you save it. Super simple. Now let's do one more example here. One kind of style that's kind of cropped up lately is to look at a teal and orange, or a more like kind of messing with the colors in the photograph. And I want to look at how an easy way to do that would be in Lightroom. So first off, this image, I would not want to build a preset around this photo as it currently stands because it's too dark. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to brighten up that exposure, not that much, but a little bit. And I might give it a little bit of blacks and a little bit of whites. I'm not going to make the preset with this stuff. I'm just getting a good starting point, getting ourselves something that we can build a preset around. Now, if you want to mess with color, color stuff is going to happen one of two places. It's going to happen inside of the HSL panel on the right-hand side, or way down under camera calibration down at the bottom. And in those two panels, you have control over every single color. I mean, you could literally go to hue here in HSL, take your red slider, and oh, there's no reds in the photo. Let's use the orange slider. And we can totally, you can see there's those few orange buildings. They're changing around wildly. You could take red and change the reds around, what little reds there are. Yellow is going to move the yellows around. You have full control over every color in the photograph. What I want to do though is I want to do a little bit of adjustment to the teals and the oranges, the blues and the oranges. And the way we can do that is we can come down to the calibration window, and there's a blue primary hue and a red primary hue. And if we take the blue primary hue to the left, what it's going to do is it's going to change around the blue hues in the photo to make them a little bit more teal. It's going to basically change the blues, make them a little cooler, make them a little more teal. And then red primary hue, we can bring that up to make the reds a little bit more orange. And together that gives you, instead of having your more traditional color scheme running from your standard blue and your standard orange, you have, or standard red, you have more of an orange and teal effect, which is really nice in some images. I really like the way that it brings out the buildings in this example. Now, what I can do, we have to think about this. If we want to turn this into a preset, I'm not going to want Lightroom to remember what I did at the top, what I did as those main adjustments. Instead, I'm going to go to the plus sign, create preset, and I'm going to call this teal and orange. And obviously, I would spend more time making this if I was really going to do it. But I'm going to hit check none. And all I want to do is turn on calibration down here at the bottom, because the calibration panel is what created that effect. So we'll hit create, that saves it. And now if I go back to grid and I go to a different photo, like let's go to this one of Sarah. Let's grab this image, go D for develop, and let's just see what that teal and orange looks like on the image. We click it, and boom, it gives us that really cool kind of orangey teal effect, just like that. Now, because those two sliders, the camera calibration, were the only ones that were checked here, it didn't affect anything we did in the basic panel, which is awesome. So super easy to do. We can build a preset, whether it's a color effect, whether it's just a simple exposure and darkening corners effect, whatever it happens to be, save it, and you're done. One final thing I want to show, in presets, Lightroom gives you a bunch of presets, or Adobe gives you a bunch of presets. For the most part, they're pretty crap. I don't like them. So if you want to get rid of those ones that Adobe gives you, you can go to the presets panel, hit the plus sign, go to manage presets, and you can uncheck all of the ones that you don't want, which are all of these top ones that Adobe gives you by default. I think those are pretty just not great. So I'm going to remove all those, hit save, and now my presets panel is much simpler. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Create some awesome presets for your photos. So hopefully from all of this, you can pretty clearly see that presets can really speed things up. They can make you a faster editor, make you more consistent, but you need to understand what's happening. So definitely practice with them, use other people's presets, start to look at what they are, watch our next video to learn more on that. But just start building your own, start learning what looks good, what doesn't look good. More than that, what looks good on just like one photo in 100 and what looks good on every photo. And that's the kind of stuff that you should throw into a preset. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. You disliked it, hit the dislike button. If you have a question, leave it in the comments section down below. And lastly, if you like this content and you want more of it, hit the subscribe button up there or down there to stay up to date with future videos. Thanks for watching.